Okay, let's get this party started. I am Coach J, Practitioner J, Mr. J, however you want to call me J. I am an intrapersonal relationship coach because I believe the relationship that you have with yourself sets the tone and standard for all other relationships around you. I hear so many times people say, why do I always wind up with these losers? Why do I always go around this same mountain? Why am I always, having this difficult time? And I say, who's the common denominator in that situation? So let's work on ourselves so we can better attract the people around us. I always start my classes with a corny dad joke, and today's is this. I went for a job interview and the manager said, we're looking for somebody responsible. And I said, well, I'm your man, because in my last job, whenever anything went wrong, I said, I'm responsible. Sorry, they said you're responsible. So, all right, whoever can take 2 deep breaths with me. If you can do it with your eyes closed, that's preferable, but feel free to keep your eyes open. So 2 deep healing breaths in, all that healing, cleansing oxygen, and out, releasing all that toxicity. In through the nose, smelling all that delicious hot pizza, and then we're cooling it down. All right. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about stress and CPTSD, which is complex stress disorder. Now, complex stress disorder usually starts more when we're younger in childhood. So you might be asking, well, why are you talking about CPTSD when this is a betrayal class? And that is because I have found that a lot of times our current betrayal was set up from an earlier CPTSD situation. So everyone experiences stress at one point or another in their lives. Perhaps you face a new boss at work, or a medical problem of your own, or a family member. No, I don't want to mute myself. Or a family member. Countless incidents do cause stress. Stress is feeling emotional or physical tension because you are in an event or having thoughts that make you feel frustrated, nervous, or angry. Stress is a normal response to events over which we often have little or no control. Not all stress is negative, however, as some incidents where humans feel stress are reasonable, such as planning a wedding, expecting a child's birth. Keeping in mind, our nervous system doesn't know the difference between stress if you were just betrayed or stress if you won the lottery. Our nervous system reacts the same. Contextually, we might know the difference. Our nervous system doesn't. Indeed, stress is your body's response to any demand or threat you may encounter in your daily life. When you sense danger, the body's defenses are activated in a rapid automatic reaction. Everyday stress is temporary and situational, plus resolves naturally. However, for instance, somebody cuts you off in the road, that's natural stress, but after a few miles, you kind of calm down. Stress can become toxic, leading to physical and emotional distress. Chronic stress in absence of proper support is harmful and potentially affects a person's mental and physical health. The stress response is the body's natural way of protecting you. Stressors are events that produce stress and can activate the fight or flight response that comprises physiological changes when anyone faces real or perceived danger. Since our nervous system is not good at telling the difference between an emotional and physical threat, your body reacts as intensely as if you are facing a life and death situation, which is why sometimes you have to talk yourself down, calm yourself down with these different tips and techniques and tactics, grounding, self-regulation, yada, yada, because I just said your body oftentimes can't tell the difference. The more your emergency stress system is activated, the easier it is to become triggered, and the more challenging it is not to react negatively to the stress that your body is feeling. So when you're stressed frequently, your body will be affected by developing severe health problems or exacerbating those that you already have. Some of the conditions of frequent stress over long periods of time certainly can evolve into or morph into depression and anxiety, or add to that depression and anxiety, pain of any kind, physical, sleep problems, autoimmune disease, digestive problems, skin conditions such as eczema, or eczema, however you want to pronounce that, heart disease, weight problems, reproductive issues, thinking and memory problems. I mean, really, the list goes on. Chronic stress can also depress your immune system, which can make you sick more often. It could negatively affect your digestive and reproductive system and cause a heart attack or stroke. Chronic stress, which I say it all the time, long-term, not even extreme stress, but continuous stress. Of course, extreme stress exacerbates it. But extreme stress, chronic stress is an ager. I mean, look at the presidents. They go into office young and handsome and, yada, yada, and they come out looking like the crypt keeper. I mean, stress will age us. Chronic stress can also rewire our brain, making you more vulnerable to anxiety, depression, and other mental health challenges. What is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is CPTSD? Basically, it's a response to chronic traumatization over months or years and includes emotional, physical, or sexual abuse. It could also include domestic violence, being held captive, living in a war zone. And although relatively rare, some professionals would even say that replaying your own trauma in your mind continually, re-traumatizing yourself, could certainly be a component that could bring on CPTSD. So complex post-traumatic stress disorder is a developmental trauma disorder, slightly different from post-traumatic stress disorder that forms in adulthood. So very, very, very loosely, PTSD happens like usually a one occasion. It could vary, but usually at one occasion. CPTSD is over time, various occasions, various traumas. You can go to war, watch your battle buddy or friend's leg get blown apart. That could cause you PTSD. You could also go to war, and over 4 years, multiple traumas happen and various things, and now it's CPTSD. So that's a very reduced, watered down definition of the difference. So the symptoms of CPTSD may include losing memories of trauma or reliving them. And I'm going to try not to deviate, but one of the areas in our brain where we store memory is our hippocampus. When cortisol jumps on that and overwhelms it, studies show that our hippocampus can get affected in the area of memory. Now, cortisol is released when we go through things, trauma and certain stresses. So it would make sense where sometimes when you're traumatized, you look back and you're like, wait a minute, did that happen? When did that happen? Did it happen at this time? Yeah, you know, that's because your hippocampus is kind of all messed up from the overload of cortisol. That's one reason. Difficulty regulating emotions that often manifest as rage, very common. Depression, suicidal thoughts or actions, sudden mood swings, feeling detached from oneself, feeling different from others, feeling ashamed, feeling guilty, difficulty maintaining relationships, difficulty trusting others, seeking or becoming a rescuer, feeling afraid for no apparent reason, having a feeling of being constantly on alert, which is hypervigilance. And a lot of times when you have been through trauma or went through trauma or go through trauma, you're in a constant state of hypervigilant. I have PTSD. Actually, I have CPTSD for various reasons, but I tell my kids all the time, and I feel bad, don't make loud, sudden noises, because immediately my body goes into defense mode of, am I going to be assaulted or something? Becoming obsessed with revenge on the perpetrator, feeling a loss of spiritual attachment, and either ignoring or depending on religion for self-worth. So without getting too much into it, a lot of times after trauma, people either question or step away from their faith, or the opposite, cling on to it for dear life. Coupling CPTSD with stress is dangerous and even a deadly combination at times. Now, again, why am I talking about stress and childhood trauma or CPTSD on a class that should be revolving around betrayal? Because past trauma clouds our perceptions, and stressful situations turn on the fight or flight or fawn response. It can also often lead to crippling inability to perform everyday typical activities. This is why a lot of people find it very difficult just to, like I just said, do your everyday responsibilities. I mean, because this could be, when you add stress and CPTSD, I mean, it's really life altering and can cripple you emotionally, so forth. If you do have childhood trauma and adult betrayal, the combination, the two can lead to problems internally in your relationships, in your marriage, in your health, thought process, and much more. There are, however, methods that you can employ to ease the power of stress. Power of stress and CPTSD, if you have this in your life. Watching this class, getting informed about the topics I'm talking about, and speaking with a coach or a counselor are some of the things you can do. CPTSD is a condition that requires the intervention of a mental health professional, preferably trauma-informed. Coaching and counseling can also help you cope with the problems you might have at work or at home. There are a variety of mental health professionals available to help, again, preferably trauma-informed. Stress and CPTSD can cause you to have difficulty falling and staying asleep. Your brain and body must have time to recharge. I always say, what's in your cup is for you. What's overflowing out of your cup is for everybody else. You can't pour from an empty cup. Self-care is not vanity, it's sanity. So make sure your cup is full, then you have the capacity to do for others. Your brain and body must have time to recharge. So finding a solution to sleeping problems is vital. There are ways to help yourself get a good night's sleep. Make sure you have a quiet room to sleep in, lower the temperature in your bedroom, make sure your bed is comfortable, use the comforter, maybe add some weight to it. A lot of people do these weight blankets. Form a relaxation bedtime routine, listen to soothing music before bedtime, put away any electronics, phones, television, iPads, preferably a half an hour before sleep, unless you're at the beginning of your betrayal, because nighttime can be our worst nightmare. Nighttime right after betrayal, that's when the triggers come flooding, the thoughts come flooding, the movie starts playing in your mind. And sometimes you need technology to get your brain off of those triggers so you can fall asleep. You got to play with it. Just like finding a good coach or a counselor, it's difficult because, there's EFT and NET and DBT and yet all these coaching and counseling modalities. Everybody works differently, and everybody can get something out of, one person absolutely DBT works better for them, another person EFT tapping, another person somebody else. The problem is insurance is like, oh, you got to find this kind of person, this is who we cover, and you got to wait for an appointment. So by the time you find somebody, the last thing you want to do is, even if they're not helping you tremendously, it's like, listen, I'll take the crumbs you're getting me as a professional, because I don't have the time, money, or interest in going to find somebody else, even though somebody else may be a better fit. But whatever, I digress. Sometimes medication is necessary to help you sleep, and even initially to help you cope with life. I am not anti-medication at all. I mean, preferably if you can do without it, with supplements and vitamins and good sleep and journaling and all this other stuff. But if anybody needs medication for any reason, Lord have mercy. God put doctors and psychiatrists on this earth for a reason. So get creative. Listening to or playing music is a fantastic stress reliever. And it can actually, there was a study done about singing and how it immediately regulates your mood and actually elevates your mood. So man, if you're in the shower, especially with all that awesome reverb, I don't care if you sound so off key, belt out some of the best songs that you love. Turn up the volume and allow yourself to drift away with the music. If you aren't into music, choose another hobby, such as sewing or gardening, whatever you do. Do anything that requires focus on what you're doing instead of ruminating or what you should be doing. Practice laughter. Lord have mercy, laughter is some of the best medicine. And I tell people all the time, put on comedies, put on a funny show, put on something funny, even if you're in the fetal position, bawling. Because your brain, your body, your mind will say, this isn't funny to me right now. I'm not going to laugh, but boy, I want to laugh. And it's that bridge. So laughter is some of the best medicine. I mean, there's studies on that. Having a good sense of humor can certainly cure a lot of problems and make your issues tolerable, if not, achievable. Even if you have to fake it till you make it. Laugh at how grumpy you are. Oh, I'm not in the mood to laugh. Well, try to laugh at yourself. I mean, angels can fly because they take themselves lightly. Laughter fires up and suppresses the stress response in our body, allowing you to relax. So If nothing else, and especially because you're watching this, remind yourself of how awesome you are, how amazing you are, how worthy you are. You're absolutely worthy. Betrayal steals our self-worth. You are loved, you are valuable, you are worth investing in your healing, and you are, because you're watching this. So I hope you got something out of today's class.